Welcome. Here we go again, one more time. Oh, it's been a week. It's been a whole week, and holy cow, has it been a week this week? Let's get the chat in here. Welcome in, everybody. Holy cow, welcome everyone who's joined in early. And I try to put this out there early enough that people will get notifications as it's about to go live. Let me know in the chat here if you got notified ahead of time or if you're getting notifications just as it's happening. Let me know. And while we're doing that, I'm gonna wet my whistle. That's the Friday signal. That's the beautiful sound of a Friday evening right there. And boy, was it a busy one. Holy cow. Busy body. I work a full-time job. For people that don't know, I do this YouTube thing as a part-time gig. It's a side thing. I love doing it. I absolutely love doing YouTube. It's fantastic. But yes, this isn't my full-time occupation. No, I'm a mechanic full-time, and I spend holy lots and lots of hours fixing people's automobiles, making sure that they're functioning, doing what they should be doing. Let me get some things situated here. That's much better, much better. Or I would have missed this one. What am I missing here? I'm not seeing all the comments. Just saw it on Discord. Oh, okay. Or I would have missed this one. Oh, wow. Well, that's incredible. Okay, I'm glad to see that people are getting notifications from other places. I'm gonna have a beer with you. Root beer, hello. All right, doesn't matter. Whatever kind of wobbly pop you like. I like the ones that actually make you wobbly. Well, not too much. I don't want to go too overboard. But getting messages. I've got a thing after the live stream. Meet up with friends. I got some friends. We're all going to the pub, so we're gonna have lots of wobbly pops down there tonight. That's gonna be the theme of this evening. That's definitely a thing. Hey, Clyde, happy wobbly pop Friday from London, Ontario. I used to live not too far from there in Windsor. It used to be the oddball thing. We go over to London, go check things out. Wobbly pops, that's right. Hello from Pincher Creek. Hey, everybody, throw in there where are you from? Where are you watching the show from? If you haven't yet chatted before, throw a chat in there. If you're feeling so inclined to. I know a lot of people that watch the show and they watch it live and they won't comment too much. They won't chat. If you're feeling up for it, make tonight the first night that you jump in the chat. Say a thing or two. Say hello. Say where you coming from. Charlottetown, Pembroke, Ontario. Is it Pembroke? There's a Pembroke, BC out here. Maple Ridge, BC. The Republic of Quebecistan. Is it even a republic? I thought it was a kingdom. But hey, we never know. Brandon, we've got Masonville from Edmonton, Alberta. Quesnel. Is it Quesnel or is it Quesnel? Calgary. Greetings from Winnipeg. Thanks for making this emergency shift more bearable. I'm glad to hear that. Having to do an extra shift on a Friday night, that's not always the best. Sudbury, Ontario. I've spent some time up there myself. I got family in the region. Victoria, BC, Bridgewater, Nova Scotia, Thunder Bay, Ottawa, Gatineau, Nova Scotia, all the way out there. It's got to be late at night for you. Holy cow. When us on the West Coast, when we live stream, it's usually so much later for everybody else out there. Good evening, everyone from Moose Creek, Ontario. Cowichan Valley, BC. That's on the island, isn't it? Cowichan. I always hear that when we're listening to, what is it? We don't listen to the radio anymore. Is that a thing anyway? For people in the chat, just say like, do you work at an office? Do you work in a shop? Does the radio play? We don't play radio anymore. We used to get this island radio station, and it we don't do it anymore. The reception's dependent on the weather. It's crappy. The talk show hosts were just awful. They were all Trudeau supporters all through the pandemic. I remember listening to it and just being infuriated. That's the thing. Don't own a radio. I don't own a radio either. Now at the shop we listen to the radio's always on for my pets. At the shop now we always listen to YouTube music. You just play that, let that go. Spotify. Okay, that's the thing. Yeah, Spotify's good. Vancouver Island. Live stream my radio at work. Yeah, so that's a live stream. It's not a radio. It's not an actual radio. They only play CBC and you can't turn the speaker off. That's torture. We should. Isn't that in the Geneva Convention that you can't do that? PTSD. Yeah. I would get PTSD from CBC radio. And I still get it. If I do a test drive in a car and that's playing, it's every time it's awful. It's awful. Trucker, semi, Sirius XM, but hardly ever listen. Clint, that's the way to go. Sirius XM if you're trucking. What's up, Clyde? I'm hanging out on a frack site in Fox Creek, Alberta. Yeah, you get us that shale. Get it. I love it. Good stuff. Amazing. There's so many people that are against fracking, and there's so much propaganda that went out there against it. I'm all for it. Just find better ways to get energy out of the ground. It's such a great way to do it. The old school guy that still plays MP3s. Is that old school? Is that you actually download stuff? What? You take up precious hard drive space for music? What are you talking about? I listened to Clyde do something in my crane cab. Oh, that's cool. Crane cab doing what? Is that you longshoreman? I gave some crap to longshoreman in a recent video. Well, I didn't really. I just, I'm not super big on all the rules surrounding unions. I'm not huge on all the rules surrounding that, and that doesn't mean to say that I don't think that unions didn't have a place. Obviously, they had a place, and unions are a lot of the reason why we have good labor practices now. Drive truck, listen to you and Northern Perspective. Awesome. Elevator music is the best. Lamau. Yeah. Not anymore. Fox Vegas 2. Okay. Now I'm just reading chats. What are we getting at? How what isn't fracking how you make babies? That's how you make babies. That's how it's done. Fracking pollutes. Pollutes. Well, I mean, you collect it. Amazon playlist and playlists. Oh, I gotta try that. I haven't done that. Google used to have Google Music. I loved it, and then when they canceled it, it went over to YouTube Music, and it's not the same. Google Music was way better, in my opinion. Clyde, you heard what's happening in Japan regarding BLM activist Brianna Slaughter causing a scene there? No, I don't. I'll have to look into that. I will have to look into that. I did see that Japan had some things celebrating Trump's victory. I don't know if I have any of that up anymore. I mean, I don't think I have the link for that. No, that's the thing. I only play the radio in my home shop to piss off the critters in there. Unions used to be there for the people. It was for decent wages and safety. Now union bosses who get full pay when strikes are on keep people out on purpose. Yeah, they do. And they pit other union members, different branches of the same union against each other. Divide and conquer. It's terrible. It's really bad. BLM's still a thing? I don't think so. Maybe just talking about someone who was a BLM activist and is now causing a scene in Japan. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. I'll have to look into that. I'll never get off my phone. I'll fall asleep otherwise. Absolutely. All right. So why don't we get into some of this now that some people have gotten into the chat? I wanted to throw this by everybody. We're thinking about doing the Marty and Clyde show, doing it live, because we always do these recordings on on Wednesday evenings. We record them on Wednesday evenings, and then I upload them for Thursday morning. What I was thinking about doing is, for the captive audience, the audience that likes to join these live streams, what I was thinking about doing is doing a live show, but not keeping it up live. So I'll have it live while it's live, and it'll come down right away, and then we'll capture it and then post it like we normally do on Thursday mornings. But there is a lot of people that are eager to see it live while it's happening, and keep talking about, hey, we would love to have a Q&A, a little back and forth with Marty as well. And this is what I was hoping to make available. Now, the way the format would go is do a live call-in. I don't know how we could do live call-ins. I don't know the logistics of that. That would be cool if we could make that work. Yeah, the logistics is one of those things that I just have a little bit of a tricky situation with. But yeah, so the idea being that we would do a live broadcast of the same thing that we shoot every Wednesday anyway. And for the first hour, we wouldn't be paying attention to the chat at all. We're just going to be doing our riffing back and forth at the time, and then after the hour mark, then it would be a Q&A session. We'll take comments, we'll take chats, that sort of thing after the 1 hour mark. That way we have the podcast to publish on Thursday mornings as we normally do, and then be able to also have the live with talk to Rick about doing live call-in shows. I gotta talk to Rick anyway. Holy cow, I haven't talked to Rick in so long. I was gonna come on his show at some point and chat with him. Yeah, we maybe make that happen. Zoltan coming on tonight. No plans for Zoltan coming on. Alex, I want to have Alex on, actually. I do. And actually, a great idea got passed my way. Why don't you and Alex do scandals, top 10 scandals or something like that, make it a stream? I think that would be a lot of fun. So I'm going to pitch that idea to him. If he likes it, then I'm definitely gonna go ahead and make that happen, because that's going to be a blast. That would be really, really cool. So yeah, Alex has been a busy boy too. Hey, he went down to Seattle for the election night, and he was happy to make it out alive. Let's just say that's crazy. Top 10, hard to filter through them all. Yeah, right. That would be one of those things. You can purchase an extra phone number pretty cheap. Yeah, no, the logistics part of it is the actually getting the audio into the computer, and then being able to Marty and myself both being able to talk with whoever's on the phone. These are logistical things that you got to think about, and you really don't really think about it that much while you're live stream, or like if you're not live streaming, you're just watching shows. As soon as you get into the live streaming stuff, then there's a lot of stuff that happens, and then you're like, holy cow, okay, I didn't know how to do that. You try experimenting with stuff. Sometimes it's a big flop, big failure, and this is the thing that we all gotta go through. I wanted to pop up some things that I just thought were funny this week. Let's get into some of this. This video a friend of mine just sent me just before we went live, and it cracked me up so bad I got to share with you.
I don't get people who move to the U.S. and don't speak English. Learn the language! I wouldn't move to Canada if I didn't speak Indian.
Okay, that killed me, because that redirect, that is what comedy is all about. And that's that kind of gets us into tonight's topic. Of course, Lauren Southern talking about what she was involved in in Parliament, well, in committee this past week. So she was summoned because of this. I just love this tweet. Absolutely love this tweet. This is Lauren Southern, obviously, with her tweet about "I love Indian food." She's showcasing what looks to be. Oh, it's not an ice cap. No, that's probably like an iced latte or whatever that you would get at Tim Hortons. But that's that's that. Hilarious in a tragic way. Yeah, absolutely. That's hilarious in a tragic way. But yeah, here we are. Lauren Southern has been raising the alarm bells for some time as a journalist, as a podcaster, as a YouTuber, as a citizen, as a mom, as just an all around great person. She's been raising the alarm bells, and she's actually been bringing to attention a lot of things such as, you know, the immigration issue that we're having in Canada and we've been having for some time. And she was ahead of the curve on this. She was ahead of the curve, encouraging people to talk about these topics that were up until just recently taboo. And she's not the only one. Obviously, Darshan Maharaja, he's been a contributor to this, and a very vocal one, a very prominent one, amazingly. And it's this kind of journalism. This is you know, citizens getting out there, making a voice for themselves and saying, you know what, audio playback feed is off. What's off about it? Chat, let me know. Is something off with the audio? Let me know. But let's get back into this. Darshan has been, you know, just like other citizen journalists, getting out there and saying this is a story that needs to be talked about, and this is one of many. But this is one that you know, some have taken under their supervision, or taken to be the, you know, the hill that they want to either die on or report on. This is the thing. And it has become a national issue up until the point that Justin Trudeau is even talking about it, and Justin Trudeau is even making changes to his policy, albeit the changes aren't exactly what he says they are going to be, and we can get into that later if that's what we want to do. But this is important. It's very important that we have freedom of speech, and I want to commend I absolutely want to commend Lauren Southern for the bang up job she's been doing for such a long time, and all of the hell she's been put through because of it. And this isn't the first time she's gone through hell. I think you can find her speech from the Reclaiming Canada conference, where she did a speech talking about what she went through in Australia, what she had to go through in Europe, what she's had to go through in America and in Canada. And she's been through hell in a handbasket, let me tell you. And this is why we need to all be backing her up on this one. This is why she's the BAM for the year, because of what she's been doing with her journalism. But not only that, what she went to Ottawa to say. Now, I do want to throw this in there because gotta do it. Today we got a sponsor. We've got a sponsor for the channel. Believe it or not, it's me. That's right. Why don't we talk about this? This is the coffee brand that we started, a friend of mine and myself. We've been doing this coffee, and this is not some, you know, white label, stick a sticker on it coffee. No, I'm actually involved in the process. This is amazing. It's been a lot of fun learning about how coffee. I love coffee. I love to drink coffee. I drink it every morning while I'm making my videos, talking with you guys, and when I'm not on the Wobbly Pops because it's a Friday evening. But this is something that we've been getting into, making different brews, different flavors, and figuring out just what everyone in the audience would love to have. And so this is why we're introducing the MAGA medium, making Americanos great again. We've got your dark humor, morning coping mechanism, and even for those decaf lovers, we've got an ecological one made by the Swiss water method for getting rid of caffeine out of coffee beans. And this is Definitely. Music's copyright gonna get demonetized. Nope, I own the music for that. That's great. So get on over to the store. Link is always in the description down below. And yeah, Clyde Brew Something Coffee. It's exciting. It's exciting to have this. And again, when you're a part of a thing, when you can actually put your stamp of approval on it, it makes you feel proud to put the name out there. And for a lot of you guys that see the F off mug, we've got that coming to the store soon as well. So that's going to be a thing. We're gonna make a lot of stuff available for that, but definitely get on over there, get some of that coffee. Everybody loves coffee. And another thing that we're going to be introducing is for those that own shops, if you own an office or if you run an office, things like that, there is a contact on the page. Give that contact, say, hey, I run a shop. I'd love to see what we can do for bulk purchases, that kind of thing. If you're, supplying coffee for the shop, you're supplying coffee for customers, that kind of thing. We can work something out. Who knows? This could take off and be something else, or we could just keep on making this. This is a great way to support the channel, and it's a great way to contribute. This is awesome. Clyde does coffee. That's right. This is that. But let's get into Lauren Southern and what she's been going through. I wanted to show some of these clips. This is my notifications. I'm going to go to that clip. This is Lauren Southern at committee. Unbelievable her testimony here.
I think that it is rich that I am sat here and being asked what I have to do to stop foreign influence and foreign interference. As a Canadian citizen, while we sit here with MPs like Jennifer O'Connell, who said boo-hoo to conservatives who wanted actual elected politicians working with foreign governments to be exposed. I am a regular Canadian.
Sorry, I think you don't take responsibility. I'm sorry, it's not your turn, Ms. O'Connell.
You don't take. I cannot stand these schmarmy politicians that get up in committee. They say their stuff. The best part about Lauren Southern's testimony at this committee is how real she is, and this is what you're going to get the feel for, because video is choppy. Is it choppy?
I'm going to continue.
I think that it is.
Let me fix something here. Okay. Tell me if it's better now.
Here and being asked what I have to do to stop foreign influence and foreign interference. As a Canadian citizen, while we sit here with MPs like Jennifer O'Connell, who said boo-hoo to conservatives who wanted actual elected politicians working with foreign governments to be exposed.
So,
I am a regular Canadian.
Okay, I'm sorry everyone got that. I'm going to play that again just so everybody can hear it properly.
I think that it is rich that I am sat here and being asked what I have to do to stop foreign influence and foreign interference. As a Canadian citizen, while we sit here with MPs like Jennifer O'Connell, who said boo-hoo to conservatives who wanted actual elected politicians working with foreign governments to be exposed.
So, I am a regular Canadian. So, sorry, I take it you don't take responsibility. I'm sorry, it's not your turn, Ms. O'Connell.
Oh, these guys, this is gross. This is gross, just the behavior of these politicians. These are the people that are supposed to be representing us, and she makes a great point. She makes a great point where they're putting all this effort to go after her, they're going after other people for supposed foreign interference. A YouTuber who's just making YouTube videos, and we'll get into the accusations here. But yeah, what about this government? What about this government that knows about 11 MPs that CSIS has said have been involved in foreign interference, and they won't out them? Justin Trudeau knows who they are. Now it sounds like Jagmeet Singh knows who they are. Elizabeth May knows who they are. A bunch of people know who they are. Pierre Poilievre won't go and find out who they are because he'll be gagged. He won't be able to speak under threat of jail time if he speaks on this issue. And this has become a serious point of contention. But these guys want to play politics with a YouTuber. That's right. They want to play politics with a YouTuber. Someone who's done a way better job at exposing the truth than any of these politicians. But, you know, it's par for the course. The politicians, they're not there to expose the truth. They're not there to expose the truth. They're there to hide the truth, because largely a lot of them are involved in a lot of this. So as I said this morning, full disclosure, I've had Lauren Southern on the show. She's a lovely lady. I met her in Vancouver. I met her again in Victoria when we were both speakers at this event. This was the Reclaiming Canada conference, hosted by Zuby, by the way. Hosted by, is he Russian No, he's not. And he's a fantastic gentleman, great, fantastic host as well. And all these names were there. Lauren Chen was slated to show up. She's the one who's named in the indictment. She didn't come. She wasn't part of that. So I never got to meet Lauren Chen, but definitely met Lauren Southern. It wasn't the first time. Again, she'd been on the show before. And yeah, we've discussed a number of these topics, including what she was discussing on Tenant Media. But let's get to her original bit here. So the original reason why she's even there. So the CBC reported on this. Many outlets have been reporting on this stuff. Let's get the chat in here. Leech's, oh my God, Leech's queen. Yeah, Tamara's fantastic. Her and Chris Barber were at that event as well. It was awesome being able to hang out with them as well. It's super cool being able to go, and a bunch of us went out to the bar afterwards, and oh man, lots of fun. Let me tell you, lots and lots of fun. I got to meet some really cool people while we were there as well. But here's the story from CBC. As they're talking about, meet the right-wing Canadian influencers accused of collaborating with an alleged Russian propaganda scheme, brought to you by the Canadian propaganda scheme. CBC News. I mean, you want to stop being called propaganda? Don't wait for Pierre Poilievre. Lobby the current government and have your funding cut. Be separated. Be separated from the government completely. Then come at people like myself that call you a propaganda outlet and say, no, we're not. Until you're not funded by the government, you're not anything but Pravda, in my opinion. That's exactly what we've got here. And that's where we're at. So meet the right-wing Canadian influencers accused of collaborating with an alleged Russian propaganda scheme. Tenant Media founder Lauren Chen allegedly took funds from pro-Moscow outlet. Now, that could be the case. I don't know. And we won't find out, because Lauren Chen, she was hauled before the committee. She was hauled before the committee over this whole thing in Canada. Now, in the United States, they have the Fifth Amendment, and in Canada, I'm not going to pretend that I know the legal writ and how this all works and what all of this means. You want to consult a lawyer for all of that stuff. But she pled the Fifth because she's in the United States while she was being interviewed. She was doing it via teleconference. The voice. Yeah, wow, get used to it. So she was Lauren Chen. I'm not talking about Lauren Southern. Lauren Chen, when she was hauled before this committee, she was brought in, and she was via the internet in the United States. So she pled the fifth, and she pled the 13th section of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, where it says that you don't have to incriminate yourself. Essentially, they did not care, and I'll tell you what. It was bipartisan as well. Or what do we say about it? Do we say bipartisan in Canada, or do we say multi-partisan? There really is only two sides, the Liberal NDP and then the Conservatives. Bipartisan sounds better anyway, but it didn't matter because both sides actually called for the compulsion of speech. They called to have her compelled to speak. She had some written statement prepared saying that because she's protected under these clauses, she won't. Unpartisan, there you go. There you go. But because she's protected under these clauses, under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, the Constitution of the United States, she shouldn't have to say anything more. Do you think Chris Barber and Tamara Lich weren't paid by the government? They didn't do anything at the convoy. What are you talking about? They both sat in their hotel rooms. People need to open their eyes. What are you opening your eyes about? They were the number one truck that went down there. They went down there, and yeah, if they had a hotel room, a bunch of them. There was a lot of people that had hotel rooms, to be honest, when they went down there. But absolutely, no, they were in truck number one, and they were the ones actually organizing a lot of this stuff. I remember, learning about this, just how much Chris Barber was actually involved in. I don't even know why I'm addressing this, but Chris was the one who was, arranging things with all the truckers that were down there. Nonetheless, let's get into this. Wow, you get sidetracked pretty easily, Clyde. Let's do this. So in this indictment, so Lauren Chen, she was hauled before the parliament, or the parliamentary committee, and she just kept repeating the same line over and over again. No, I'm just going to repeat this, and this is where we're going. This is as far as it goes, and they pushed a motion to compel her to speak. Now, she didn't say anything else afterwards, and where that goes from there. But just this notion of compelling somebody to speak goes against the concepts, the principles of free speech. You can't compel somebody to speak. Under what conditions? What is it? You're going to put someone under duress to have them speak? What are you going to waterboard them in Parliament? What are you going to do? What are you going to do to make them speak? But just the concept of the compulsion to speak, I'm completely opposed to, absolutely opposed to. Now in this committee, it was both the Conservatives and the Liberal NDP that were all for it. This compelled speech. Now this is that has to do with Lauren Chen. We're talking about Lauren Southern here. Now in this alleged case. So this is the story. Tenant Media was put together. Oh, let's just read this line from this. The U.S. Justice Department unsealed an indictment against two Russian nationals, accusing them of setting up a conservative media outlet as a front for pro-Kremlin propaganda. The media outlet was unnamed in the indictment, but it was clear from the details within the charges that the charges were referred to Tenant Media, founded in 2023 by the Canadian influencer known as Lauren Chen and her husband Liam Donovan. Among the people they hired last year, Chen's longtime friend and occasional collaborator, Lauren Southern, another Canadian far-right influencer with a massive social media following. You can tell the political bend that somebody has just when they write adjectives about a person. It's unbelievable that this is the kind of behavior that you get from writers, but this is what we see all the time. Lauren Southern, another Canadian right-wing influencer, the long-time friend and occasional collaborator. Okay, you want to throw stuff out there. Do you have anything to corroborate what you're saying here? I don't know. I don't know if Lauren Chen and Lauren Southern are friends. I have no idea. I really don't. I know that they've worked on things together. That's about all I know. They've been to different events at the same time. In the few short months and it operated, the outlet produced a steady stream of content favorable to Donald Trump. What do you think is going to happen from people who are right-leaning? Do you think they're going to be favorable to Joe Biden? Like, what do you think? Does that mean that it's pro-Kremlin? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that this is the kind of stuff that's written out loud, and you're trying to pretend like you're not a propaganda outlet, including an appearance by his daughter-in-law, Laura Trump. Oh no, persona non grata an appearance? You mean an interview with someone who used to be part of the administration? Get out of town. Since the indictment was made public, several tenant media collaborators have come forward to claim they were unaware of how the company was funded. In fact, this is where it gets seedy in the way they write this stuff in the media. It's not since the indictment was made public that the collaborators came forward with a claim. It's that the indictment makes the claim. The indictment makes the claim that none of these collaborators knew anything about what the indictment entails. The indictment entails a story of Lauren Chen and her husband getting together with some Russian nationals with a lot of money, and somehow told the collaborators that it was an American from Tennessee with a lot of money that was backing this thing. So no. This isn't claims from the collaborators. This isn't claims at all from the collaborators. This is them telling the truth, telling the facts of the matter. And not only that, they're telling what all of them found out about this when they heard about the indictment. They didn't even know. They didn't know until the indictment. So get this straight. Get this straight. CBC, it would be nice if you would, in fact, do your research into these items. Now, this being said, I want to say Lauren Chen has been vocally anti-Trump. She's been very against Trump for a long time, even though she's a right-wing, conservative content creator. She used to be with the Blaze, which was what's his name? What's his nuts? Glenn Beck's outfit, who was also a never Trumper until he became pro-Trump. Lauren Chen, I don't think she ever came out as pro-Trump, and that's something that's just a little tidbit. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything with any of this story, but yeah. So she's the one being indicted over this whole thing, and allegedly told people. And we're not just talking about Lauren Southern. We're talking Dave Rubin. We're talking Tim Pool. We're talking Matt Christensen. A lot of other creators were involved in this whole tenant media thing. So anyway, what happened? The indictment alleges that tenant media was formed by Lauren Chen and her husband on the backing of what the collaborators believed was a billionaire philanthropist from Tennessee. Turns out that's not who it was. It was two Russian nationals with allegedly they wanted to spread whatever misinformation, yada yada. That's the story. Sad day for Pat King. Yeah, I heard about that. He was acquitted of all other charges except mischief. Guilty of mischief. We don't know what we're gonna have to wait for sentencing on that. I tweeted out. I said something. What was my tweet? I'm gonna have to pop this up because this is very relevant to free speech. Absolutely. This has to do with free speech. So I'd like to pop this one up. So obviously Pat King found guilty of mischief for role in 2022 Freedom Convoy. I tweeted out, in other news, Dennis the Menace will not be convicted of his mischievous deeds because they didn't anger any Canadian political leaders. That's where we are. Mischief. What is mischief? Mischief. And when I hear mischief, I just hear of the mischievous deeds of Dennis the Menace, running around, maybe not finishing his chores before going on to, what is mischief? This is the same thing that Chris and Tamara are facing, and we haven't heard a verdict yet. Years this stuff. Pat King guilty on 5 of 9. If you haven't been suspected of being a spy, you're not successful enough. That's it. Don't use their verbiage. Collaborators historically means a negative always. Beware of the buzzwords. Okay, yeah. When I hear collaborator, because I'm a YouTube content creator, it's always like collabs. We're doing collabs, because that's how people say it. We're gonna do a collaboration. Oh, we're gonna collaborate. That's I guess I didn't even consider that. I didn't even consider that because this is the sort of language that I hear. So anyway, getting back to the story. Tenet Media gets established and a bunch of people are brought onto the company. They're asked, hey, would you either make content for Tenet Media exclusively, or would you license some of your content to Tenet Media? Make sense? So, for example, in cases like Lauren Southern, cases like Matt Christensen, they were asked to make exclusively content for Tenet Media. That was the arrangement, and they got paid handsomely for it. Which, at the end of the day, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they get handsomely paid for it? Because that's what pundits on news channels get. This is what if you're what's his name, Wolf Blitzer on CNN or whatever, like they get paid pretty handsomely for what it is that they do. So when you hear about other people getting remunerated in such large numbers, this one seemed a little bit large, but hey, that's that's neither here nor there. It was pretty crazy to see how much. I see them as collaborators in our demise. I shouldn't let them steal the words. There you go. Southern content can be viewed in Russia. Well, you can still see Lauren Southern stuff. Tenet Media was removed. Tenet Media was removed. So what was on Tenet Media? So some content creators like Lauren Southern, like Matt Christensen, were making exclusive content for them. Other content creators, like I think Dave Rubin and Tim Pool, they were licensing out content that they were already making. Now, I could be wrong with the Dave Rubin thing. He might have made exclusive stuff for Tenet Media, but yeah. So Tim Pool, when Tim Pool was doing it, he was licensing out content that he was already making. It was already part of his morning show. And so that's what he did. He just basically said, okay, you can license this, and he made a buck off of it. No big deal. Well, at least it shouldn't be. But here's where Mark Dice came in, and he was commenting on this, and he called it out pretty good. I think so. If this was intentional, it sounds like a honeypot, and a honeypot is the idea, or you put out the honeypot and then you catch the what you're trying to catch. And the idea here is you entice right-wing content creators in with this thing, with this big pot of money to do the thing that they were already going to do because they love doing what they do. But you say, hey, here's a big payday to do it for us. And then it turns out that it has some sort of connection where they can be guilt by association set up. Then, who's a troll? If somebody's a troll, get rid of them. Just ask one of the mods. I think, yeah. Who's in there tonight? We got Audio Jack, I think, is in the room. But that's the story. That's the story. So then Lauren Southern, she explains this in her own words on in this video. And I got a big shout out to Wiretap Media for putting this out there, making this available so that everybody could watch this. I'm going to pop this on right here.
Honorable Chair, esteemed members of this committee, I would like to thank you for so enthusiastically inviting me to speak today. My name is Lauren Southern. I am a filmmaker, a YouTuber, and a proud Canadian. In late 2023, I was contracted to make weekly videos by a startup company called Tenet Media. Then recently, the U.S. Department of Justice released an indictment which alleges the founders of Tenet created the company in conjunction with 2 Russian citizens, with funding ultimately originating from the Russian government. Per the indictment, the founders of Tenet Media deceived the personalities they contracted regarding their alleged source of funding. I'll make a few points clear at the outset. At no point in my involvement with Tenet did I ever have knowledge of the allegations in the indictment. And 2, the only person who ever had any creative control over my videos was me. No one from Tenet or anywhere else ever dictated what topics I covered or what opinions I held. I always seek to fight disinformation in all of its forms, and therefore I have a duty to inform this committee that disinformation has been spreading within these very walls. Some in the media, and even witnesses to this committee, have attempted to paint a picture of Tenet as a hugely influential player in the political media landscape. This, frankly, is just not true. A previous witness to this committee, who went unchallenged, stated that Tenet Media controlled a network of over 16 million subscribers. This is not true. On their largest platform, YouTube, Tenet had barely over 300,000 subscribers. I believe the 16 million figure referred to the total number of subscribers among all of the personalities who had videos contracted or licensed by Tenet. Subscriber base is that, given all of the facts, Tenet had absolutely no control over.
Okay, so this is a valid point, right? So it's choppy again? Wow. Okay, hopefully, let me know, is this good now?
Or licensed by Tenet. Subscriber base is that, given all of the facts, Tenet had absolutely no control over. To claim that Tenet controlled those subscribers would be like claiming that a TV network had influence over the United States presidency because they air reruns of The Apprentice.
Okay, that's a good jab. That's a good jab. To say that they had... Oh, I wanted to get to the first point. So the first point that she made was the point where I paused. She was making the point that they're counting all of these views, and they said subscribers, X amount of millions of subscribers. Tenet Media had, I think she said 300,000 subscribers, not very big. And in fact, the video views didn't really perform all that well, unfortunately. And unfortunately for Lauren, who's trying to get her message out there. I'm not talking about the Tenet Media as a whole, but Lauren was totally trying to get her message out there in a way that was earnest, in my opinion. And in fact, I had her on the show after she did a great video on the channel about immigration, and I said, hey, why don't you come on? And I also had Harrison Faulkner on the same day, and they both came on because they were both part of that video. Harry hasn't gotten any slack, I guess. He's probably staying under the radar for that one when it comes to this Tenet Media story, and good for him staying out of this one. But this is the situation. She put out a great video, like a banger production, amazing video, and it wasn't getting that much attention. And I was like, Lauren, come on the show. Let's get more people watching it. It was a fantastic video. I don't care if she's on Tenet Media. I don't care if she's on The Blaze. I don't care if she's working with this or that. I know that she's making the content that she wants to make, and she's making it. And she stated when she first got the contract with them that none of the views that she expresses are the views of Tenet Media. Her views are her views. End of story. And it was always portrayed that way. It was never portrayed in any other sort of light. But getting to that last point here.
Network had influence over the United States presidency because they air reruns of claiming that absolutely no control over. To claim that Tenet controlled those subscribers would be like claiming that a TV network had influence over the United States presidency because they air reruns of The Apprentice.
That's hilarious. I love her. Just her way of working with the language. It's fantastic. Analogies are a great way. Yeah, to say that sort of influence from Tenet Media, and all the subscribers of all the shared different YouTubers had some sort of influence over politics, it would be like saying that because there's reruns playing on a network that they have influence over the presidency. That's hilarious, because obviously that's not true. They don't have that sort of influence. They try they try to peddle that kind of influence, but that's not the reality of the situation.
The same witness claimed Tenet garnered over 1 billion video views and 20 billion impressions. I have absolutely no idea where those numbers came from. Very readily available public data shows that on its largest platform, YouTube, Tenet received only 16 million total views.
Now that sounds like a lot. My channel has more views than that, right? And we're talking about Tenet Media that had banger content creators on that site, right? We're talking Lauren Southern, we're talking Dave Rubin, Tim Pool, Matt Christensen, to name just a few. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. So yeah, I have a smaller subscriber base than that, and my channel has had multiple times that viewership.
Based on the witness's spacious numbers, he asserted that Russia received extraordinary value for their money. Anyone with even a cursory understanding of new media would know, however, that $10 million for 16 million views on YouTube hardly qualifies as extraordinary value. In fact, it qualifies as a total failure.
Yeah.
So there is, in fact, a silver lining here. If the allegations are true, it appears Russia did attempt to influence Western media, but they failed pretty miserably. Now, I know that
that's if the allegations are true at all, right? And that I don't know if Lauren's, making a confirmation there, but to say that if that were the case, they were trying to use this YouTube channel to influence anything, they failed. Like, failed hard too. Failed real hard. Lots of money spent. Not a lot went out. That's crazy.
the chief concern of this committee is how this debacle may have influenced Canadians. Well, I was the only Canadian commentator and the only host that consistently discussed Canadian issues.
Yes.
In fact, if the company had any creative control over me, which they didn't...
Now you might want to... like some might argue that she's not the only Canadian content creator, because Lauren Chen was part of the Tenet Media. But Lauren Chen never spoke about Canadian issues. Zilch.
Issues. In fact, if the company had any creative control over me, which they didn't, they probably would have asked me to stop making Canadian videos since they didn't perform very well. So if you were worried about this alleged Russian money unduly influencing Canadian issues, good news, didn't happen.
It absolutely didn't happen. Totally. Great comment there from Dave FL saying, I watched Tenet Media and the creators watched it too, and the creators attached to it. None of them were anything different than their regular content. Absolutely. I've been watching, I know Matt Christensen. I've been watching his show for years. Absolutely watching his show for years since he had no set, right? It was just, just his room with white walls. That's how long I've been watching his stuff. When I heard that he was going over to do something else, and I think he's not doing, is he still doing a show with Blonde? It was Blonde. It was Blonde and the Beast, wasn't it? It was I can't remember the name of the show, but yeah, Blonde in the Belly of the Beast. That's her, and he used to do the Matt Christensen's. Holy cow, that's a name to trip over. Their show, that was their thing. Dave Rubin still on YouTube. Absolutely, he's still on YouTube. They broke up the Blonde and Matt. Ah, what a shame. What a shame. Blonde was a little racy for me, but I like their show, and I really like Matt. I think Matt is on point. I really like Matt because he's always about the principle behind things, and I really get behind that. I love his work. I love his sentimentality. I guess all the people that came from the same camp as me, I like Tim Pool, I like Matt Christensen. All three of us are like skateboard guys, tradesman types, and and also love podcasting. So that's a thing. Southern has brown hair, blonde streaks. Oh, well, yeah. Have you never met a blondie that goes a little darker in the wintertime? Every blondie I know. Missing money. PSYOPs are very expensive. No idea what that means. Where's the Steele dossier? Right? Right? Absolutely. Where's that? But this is where I think this might have been some weird honeypot. No idea. I mean, God only knows what went on, like the truth behind it. I don't know if we'll ever know. Obviously, Lauren Chen hasn't been very public about this since. But when it comes to Lauren Southern, again, all these other creators that joined Tenet Media, none of them knew anything about this. And this was again part of the indictment. Wrote explicitly that none of them knew any of this stuff at all. Keep seeing Sunny. I don't see a Sunny in the chat, but hey, let's get back to this.
And I'll be honest, it has been surreal for me to watch our government, experts, and media assert that scripts I would jot down in my notes app in a line at the grocery store were secretly part of a giant foreign influence campaign. Arguably, the largest actual impact on Canadians here has been the amount of tax dollars they've had to spend investigating this non-issue.
I don't know what she's referring to. If you're in the chat and you know what she means, like scripts that she wrote down on the backs of receipts, really don't know what the thing is there. Argentina apparently missing gold. Javier says he doesn't know where it went. Isn't that obvious? The socialists that have been running the country for decades and decades, yeah, probably went out the door in their pockets. They're trying to squelch through free speech. Absolutely, this is what they're doing, and it's a bipartisan effort. And I really don't like this. I really don't like this because I'm very much in favor of the truth. Right? I'm very much in favor of the truth, even if I don't like it. Even if I don't like what's being told. I don't like hearing that Lauren Chen is being indicted for some Russian scheme. But if that turns out to be true, well, that turns out to be the truth. You know what I mean? It's all about this. For her video monologues. Oh, that's what the scripts were? Got a super chat. Why is it... Give me 1 second here. Why is it doing that for me? I need to hit refresh. Robert McFallon. Holy cow. It's abbreviated there. That's that made things really tough for me to try to read that. Let me get into this. Hold on. I gotta pop out another chat just so I could read this. Robert McFallon with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much, by the way. All the politicians asking Lauren questions at committee made themselves look Mark Garretson level stupid. That is another level of stupid. Well, we're gonna get into some of those because it's egregious. It's egregious what they're doing. Clyde, they're after conservatives. End of story. Who's after conservative? Oh, well, yeah, them. But there are chinos. We've heard the term rhinos, right? You've all heard that term, rhino. Republican in name only. There are chinos. There are chinos out there. And this is why I love the idea. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. Matt Gaetz getting in as Governor General as Trump's pick. That guy has a vendetta. He's got a vendetta to go after corruption in the Republican Party. I want to see that. I want to see conservatives get in. I want to see conservative MPs come in and go after conservative MPs. Not just go after the Liberals and the conservative and the NDP and go after the Bloc Québécois. I want everybody. Gates dropped out. Wow. That's interesting to hear. I bet she's got something better he'd like to be doing. But I'd like to see, because I know he really wants to go after didn't Matt Gaetz step down today? I don't think he stepped down. If he backed out from being the attorney general or governor general, that might be a thing. Yeah, Elon buying MSNBC is a total boss move. No, did he? Shut up. I don't believe it. Maybe they were fishing for rhinos. That could be it. Fishing for rhinos. Matt Gaetz is out. Pam Bondi is in for attorney general. I'm going to have to do some homework on her. Was a hat trick with Gaetz. Yeah, Gaetz is great. I like him a lot. The more I started learning about him, the more I like him. I liked him before because he was the MAGA guy. He was the MAGA guy that got in because, you know, everyone was afraid. Well, let's not go to Trump. What? No, let's embrace it. Let's go. Let's drain that swamp. He really wanted to go, and he really wants to. Bondi is a Trump loyalist. Okay, too controversial. Controversial is good. Did Elon buy MSNBC? I don't know. Christine Noseworthy. I gotta find this out. What? Elon did Trump what? Elon Musk asked Donald Trump Jr. how much MSNBC costs. Elon Musk hints he may buy left-leaning MSNBC. No, it's just a tweet asking how much it cost. That's all that is. Okay. If he did, that would be funny. That would be really, really funny. No, Elon did not, but he's making noises. Yeah, Benny was talking about it. I love Benny. Holy cow. I'd love to get on his radar. That's for sure. He's a fun guy. Elon for satellites in Canada, Starlink for New Brunswick, please. No, he isn't. LOL. Okay. Why didn't they care about Soros buying 200 radio stations? Right? They don't care anything about George Soros doing all his thing. But as soon as Elon Musk wants it, you know, the guy who grew up in or was born in South Africa, grew up in Canada, and went on to be the most successful person the planet has ever seen. Thank you, Clyde. That would be so cool. Oh, how cool would that be? Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be in the US. I don't know where Benny is. Does anybody know where Benny's located? Is he Benny Johnson? Is he in like Florida? I don't know. I have no idea. I like Mr. Benny. He laughs a lot. Okay, everyone knows. Florida. Okay, good question. I didn't know. I just assumed he was either like Florida or Texas. There you go, Tampa. Yeah. Oh, he backed out. Oh, we were talking about Gates there. Okay, let's get into more of this.
Some in the media and this government seem to have concluded that the only reason a regular Canadian could possibly hold certain views that do not align with the current Liberal administration is because of pernicious, widespread Russian disinformation.
Okay, let's just catch up a little bit on this, and it'll give me a moment to go get another refreshment.
Discussed Canadian issues. In fact, if the company had any creative control over me, which they didn't, they probably would have asked me to stop making Canadian videos since they didn't perform very well. So if you were worried about this alleged Russian money unduly influencing Canadian issues, good news, didn't happen. And I'll be honest, it has been surreal for me to watch our government, experts, and media assert that scripts I would jot down in my notes app in a line at the grocery store were secretly part of a giant foreign influence campaign. Arguably, the largest actual impact on Canadians here has been the amount of tax dollars they've had to spend investigating this non-issue. Some in the media and this government seem to have concluded that the only reason a regular Canadian could possibly hold certain views that do not align with the current Liberal administration is because of pernicious, widespread Russian disinformation. I would like to propose an alternative hypothesis, and I know it may sound insane. I know this breaches the borders of conceivable thought, but maybe, just maybe, some Canadians consulted their own moral compass and decided they don't want this country funding foreign wars.
Snap. Bam. That is a great dig. That is an absolute great dig. Because where is the anti-war group in Canada? There is no anti-war section of politics. And I'm very sad about it. Very sad about it because the Conservatives are very much into this Ukraine debacle. The Liberals are, wow, they're very enthusiastic about it. There's no anti-war anything. In fact, the Greens, who are supposed to be the anti-war types, and the NDP, they're cheering on war. They're just cheering it on for the other team. When it comes to what's happening in the Middle East, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. Is there nobody who just doesn't want to be involved in foreign conflicts that's in office? I know before all the PPC guys jump in there and tell me, Clyde, wow, there it is. I called it. Clyde PPC. I know you are brainwashed against Max. I'm not brainwashed against Max. I came to my own conclusions where I'm at. And I'm very sad to see that he unfollowed me on X. That's that was a sad moment. But yeah, no, I'm not sold on that one. No, I'm talking about actual like people in office. We need more real support for peace. You kidding me? Egging on conflict is the worst. And what's crazy is the same politicians that would love to egg on conflict. They're the ones that will be the first to have exemptions for their own children having to go to war. It just makes me so angry. Maxime Bernier is on the Privy Council. What? He's not even He's not an elected official. Yeah, well, PP ain't our savior. Oh no, I don't think PP's our savior. I never said that. I don't think that. My thought is to bring, it's not even up to me. The trend in Canada is that it's going in that direction. Money Minion, celebrating your first super chat on my live stream to tell everybody that Northern Perspective is live streaming right now. Appreciate that. We'll see if the numbers go down. Thanks to that. Really, thanks a lot for that. If anybody wants to know, Northern Perspective is apparently streaming right now, and I guess people are calling for other people to go on over there. Oh, I see what's happening there. Got you. Anyhow, here we go. There we go. Let's get back into this video.
Maybe they looked around them at the hospital lineups or housing prices and thought immigration might be a little high. Maybe they lost their business during lockdown and think, I worry about my freedoms in this country. Some in this government are hell-bent on drastically exaggerating the extent of foreign influence because they can't seem to stomach the idea that they might be wrong about something and that a growing majority of Canadians legitimately and organically oppose what they are doing. They simply can't conceive that they are becoming unpopular naturally, so there must be foul play at work. Let me make this abundantly clear.
And that's I mean, is that a dig or is that just a harsh truth to the reality of the situation? Justin Trudeau is really drawing at straws here. He's drawing at straws because he's tanking. He's tanking for support. I mean, what's he doing today? He's calling it out that we're gonna reduce the GST. We're gonna absolutely reduce the GST just so, you know, I could buy a few more votes. Maybe some people will be happy with me. Perhaps. I love this. This was the food professor. GST, HST exemption. Yesterday, PM Trudeau cast himself as Canada's Santa Claus. By eliminating the GST, HST at grocery stores, the average Canadian will save $4.51 in taxes on groceries and $19.51 at restaurants between the December and February. Nice gift. Ho, ho, ho. That's the reality of it. That's absolutely the reality. You can't make that up. You can't make this up. This is, and I love Dr. Charlebois for this, because he'll crunch the numbers. He'll get right in there. He'll crunch the numbers and he'll make sure everybody knows what really is happening here. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. You're all being promised this big thing, but you know what's going to end up happening? Prices are going to go up. Prices are going to go up because why? Well, Verbal points this out perfectly. He nails this one. Don't forget that in order for GST to pause to work, all retailers will have to reprogram their computers, which will cost a metric ton, judging by how he spelled the word here. They'll have to raise prices to make that money up. Now everything is more expensive. And that's long lasting. That'll go on for more than 2 months. Because they're going to have to recoup the costs. They're going to have to recoup those costs. Sometimes I get fed up. I know. I try to keep this lighthearted and stuff, but whoa. Sometimes I get really upset with this. But thank you, Lauren, for going out of your way to do this. This is
Once
great.
more. No one but myself and my true experiences as a Canadian have informed my opinions. And to any members of this government who may be listening, I would suggest you familiarize yourself with these opinions because they are rapidly becoming the views of the majority of this nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. And thank you, Wiretap Media, for making this available on Twitter. That's really cool. It's really cool because, you know, not everybody has the ability to digest every little aspect of every little thing. So it's really cool when people are making these videos available. I always like to give credit to the people that I get the clips from. I often get clips from, you know, sometimes from Marty. I get them from a handful of sources. Government.exe is corrupt. I get clips from the ones that Amazing Zoltan or Alex Zoltan always puts out. He always puts his little spin on them. I love it. I love how he does like zoom ins of the people that are listening to what's being said. Funny. It's funny. It's just it's a really cool approach. But let's get into some of these Q&A little sessions here. Breaking. Lauren Southern claims CSIS attempted to flip her as an asset and harassed and stalked her when she declined.
I just like to come back to the monetary issue that was addressed earlier. You said that Tenant Media gave you a $275,000 US dollar budget, and your take home was about 100,000 Canadian. That's what you earned for yourself. Yes. Thank you. Did anybody at any time ask you to reimburse that money? When Tenant was closed, when there were allegations, did you meet any by the RCMP or CSIS or any type of security service that you met further to that?
So I have not been asked to reimburse any of that money, but I have been visited by CSIS, who quite frankly have been putting immense psychological pressure on me to become an informant on this subject and other subjects. Ultimately, I declined because I'm not looking to become an asset for foreign governments nor this government, and I did not like the way in which they threatened and stalked me. And I would like to know how much Canadians paid for that, by the way.
I would like to know that. I would like to know how much Canadians paid for her to be harassed and harangued by CSIS thugs at this point. Did you know that one of you won't believe this. You won't believe this. The most radical group in Canadian history, right wing or whatever you want to call it, racist radical group, the Heritage Front. They were a big organization, and they were taken down by an insider. By the way, Eliza Hannigan. She at one point she was the face of white supremacy in Canada, in North America. She was on television, things like that, and then she had a change of heart, obviously, and then she ended up wearing a wiretap and going in and collecting enough information for them to get busted for what they were doing. You know how they even got going? The guy who was the founder, the leader, he was a paid informant who was inserted into a group of people that seemed like they might have racist tendencies, and he radicalized them with CSIS money. This is the government we have. I need to do a video about that. I need to do a whole thing about that, because this is, oh, holy cow, it's egregious. I really wanted to get into some of these topics, because it's really crazy. Like, are we a rogue state? Like, here we are. Pierre Poilievre is even commenting about this. A man convicted in a French court of killing 4 people in a Paris synagogue bombing is living freely in Canada, even working as a professor teaching students about social justice in action. Why hasn't he been extradited to France to face justice? Is Justin Trudeau refusing France's extradition request? Well, not just that. Carleton fans the flames of toxicity by employing convicted terrorists. This isn't even the half of it. This isn't even the half of it. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Like, are we a rogue state at this point? You know, the most radical group in our history was funded by our version of the CIA or the FBI, CSIS. That's how it even got going in the first place. That's what we have on our history books. We have a long history of hiding World War II war criminals, as we found out. They saluted one in Parliament. It's unbelievable. Have we always been a rogue state that harbors the worst people? What is happening? Holy. I have a hard time with this. I seriously have a hard time with this. Here's another clip.
Ms. Southern, have you been contacted by Canadian or American law enforcement about your role in the Russian-run tenant media op, given the U.S. indictment?
Yes, as I mentioned, CSIS came to my house while I was making dinner for my child and tried to speak with me, but did so in a way that I was not comfortable with. And I have also, quite frankly, experienced quite a bit of harassment and stalking from them. When I told them I did not want to speak, they called me dozens and dozens of times. They found my gym. They told me that if I if I did not essentially become an informant for them, that I love being a mother, I love my child, and I would love to see him grow up and be there to provide for him, and it would be a shame if something happened to me.
That is so messed
I'm
up.
not too impressed with the state of law enforcement in this country right now, to be honest.
Are they law enforcement, or are they the mafioso? Right? Oh, it's a real nice house you got. Hey, we're taking donations for the not catch your house on fire donations. Hey, hey, you got a real nice place you got there. It would be a real shame if it, one day caught on fire, and maybe the guys over at the fire station they don't get the call. Hey. Anyway, taking donations. Don't feel obliged. But you might actually wanna give those donations. Like this is where they're at. This is where they're at. Are you serious? You're gonna threaten a journalist, a YouTuber, someone who's out there telling the truth? You're gonna threaten her and her children? It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. Oh, I don't even have words for it. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. Here's another clip from Viva Fry. When you appreciate that this is the bipartisan Russian witch hunt, you understand Canada has fallen, and Lauren Southern is standing up to the tyrannical regime. There's no difference between the Conservatives and the Liberals. They're both disgusting, corrupt piles of crap.
Used. I think it's important to do due diligence, and you have significant following on social media platforms where misinformation can spread rapidly. How do you ensure that the content you share is not used by foreign entities to amplify narratives that undermine Canadian democracy or national security?
Are you accusing me of spreading narratives that have undermined
I'm just asking
democracy?
you a question, just like, in terms of how do you ensure that the content you share is not used by foreign entities to amplify narratives that undermine Canadian democracy or national security? What measures do you take?
I ensure that every contract I sign and have ever signed in media gives me full creative control of every single thing I say and publish. That's how I ensure.
Well, there's concerns that individuals or groups may be unintentionally aiding foreign governments in spreading divisive narratives. How do you
hold on. Unintentionally spreading divisive misinformation, whatever. Unintentionally spreading misinformation. What does unintentionally spreading misinformation mean? Honestly, answer that question. I would love to hear somebody answer that question. Say you're wrong about something. If you're wrong about something, seriously, chat, like, let's hear this. If you're wrong about something, and I'm happy to say if I'm wrong about a thing. And if it turns out later that I was wrong, I'll own up to it. Absolutely. That's what you do. But what is this incidental or accidental or incidental misinformation, unbeknownst to yourself, that you're spreading misinformation? It's called being wrong. Are they making it illegal to be wrong? Because that's a sure way to crush speech, period. Misinformation, by definition, is accidental. Yeah, you're right. Because then they have the other terms, malinformation. Disinformation and malinformation. Yeah, misinformation, by its own definition, is accidental. You didn't know. You, in all earnest goodness and judgment, you said something that was false. Is that illegal? Is that illegal? Is that illegal to do that? That's a great question. Because as far as I'm concerned, you have every right to be wrong. You can be wrong from the hilltops, for all I care. You could be wrong on your loudspeaker. Go ahead, be wrong. Be wrong all day long. There's a lot of people that believe that you're wrong about things, right? Is that misinformation? Is it really? Disinformation being the idea that you're knowingly deceiving people with bad information. You know it to be false and you're sharing it regardless. And you're telling people something that's wrong. You know it's wrong. Misinformation being, I love the perfect example of that. Thank you so much for that definition. Malinformation is another spin weird one, where malinformation being defined as information you know to be right. So malinformation is correct information. It's right, but it could harm someone else. Or perhaps the government. That's what malinformation is. This is getting really, really close to, well, I mean, how close to authoritarian do you have to get to be an authoritarian? To say something like that. Are you unknowingly giving people the wrong information? What? If you're saying something in good faith that turns out to be wrong, I don't think you're guilty of anything. Now, you might want to correct yourself, and afterwards, how you go about that will determine whether or not people will trust you moving forward. But that's a different story. It's a different story altogether. It's just unbelievable.
Divisive narratives. How do you respond to allegations that your online content has been used to further Russian propaganda or influence Canadian public opinion?
As far as I'm aware, just this month, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced a pause to immigration, or a decrease in immigration for the next 3 years, citing unsustainable growth. This is one of the critiques that has been my main critique on tenant media and off tenant media. And having it portrayed as Russian disinformation by this committee, or even aiding and abetting Russians, has been very interesting. I may understand I may have been right too early on this issue, and as so I must be socially punished by this regime. But although much too late, I happen to believe that Justin Trudeau is making the correct decision there, and I would hope that this committee wouldn't advocate Canadians stop drinking water or wearing seatbelts because someone with the last name Ivanov or Petrov suggested it was a good idea.
That is amazing. That is a great sentiment. That is a great statement. Someone with a Russian last name tells you to drink water. No, stop drinking water. That's you're hearing that from the wrong source. You're absolutely hearing that from the wrong source. What if you might even hear stuff come out that, oh, okay, well, this information, though it may be true, is benefiting Vladimir Putin. Well, how far does that rabbit hole go? Let's venture down that path. Let's totally venture down that path. Okay, so say one day Vladimir Putin is eating dinner and he starts choking on something that he was eating, right? And one of his staff come out, a loyalist to him, come out and grab him from behind and yoink, that whatever, the black Russian caviar comes out of his gullet, and it saves his life. But we don't like Vladimir Putin. We're supposed to be on the other side, and we should hope for his demise and all of that stuff, right? All of that stuff. So somebody gave the information on how to do that maneuver to that loyalist. Should we go after Dr. Heimlich? Is Dr. Heimlich responsible for saving the life of that evil Vladimir Putin? Are you kidding me? Like, is this the logic? Is this the logical tree we're going down? Where this is the kind of argumentation that we're going to have. This is just absurd. It's absurd to draw these these ties. And I love logic trees, because logic trees are perfect, because you give me a set of logic and I will bring it to its extreme. And if it falls apart and it sounds ridiculous, then it means your logic is ridiculous. It doesn't mean that that premise is ridiculous. No. Let's drag it out. Let's extrude it to the ends where we can actually see if that logic makes sense. Nux for Cup with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. When it comes to mis, dis, and malinformation, when does the responsibility fall on the consumer to validate the information for themselves? Well, I guess Nux for Cup, you're missing the point. When you're an authoritarian, everybody are little plebeians. You don't trust people to make decisions for themselves. Don't you see that we're all just automatons? We're just all automatons that should be guided and directed to do the things that we would do. Because otherwise, somebody else might come in and direct everybody to do the thing that they want to do. See, this is why authoritarians hate free speech. I'm a real boy. This is why authoritarians hate free speech. Seriously, this is the argumentation. Now, while I don't like speech that's false, right? While I don't like speech that's false, I don't like the idea of a flat earth. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Do I think that people who believe in the flat earth shouldn't be able to talk and say their thing? No, I think that's ridiculous. I think that's authoritarian. Now, it would be one of these things where an authoritarian might think, well, no, we need to stop people from saying flat earth theories, because the more people that are on the internet giving these flat earth theories, the more people are buying into it. Yes, so? So? So what? I don't care if a bunch of people think that the earth is flat. Go think that the earth is flat. It's inconsequential to me. Because the reality of the situation is, anybody who believes that the earth is really flat is, I mean, are they really going to be making consequential choices in your life? No, probably not. Unless we have an authoritarian government, and then they could possibly get the chance to get into government. This is why I advocate for a smaller government. This is why government should be as small as possible. Because what if one day you've got idiots at the helm? What if you got idiots at the helm? Well, they should have the least amount of consequence on your life. Absolutely. So while maybe I agree with the authoritarian that flat earth is a dumb idea, I disagree with the authoritarian in the concept of saying that the flat earther shouldn't be allowed to say what he wants to say. Again, this is extruding. We're extruding logic, and we're bringing it to its inevitable, inevitable position of being so extreme that it falls apart. Have your Milei is crushing it. You know it. You know it. Have your Milei is crushing it. He absolutely is. I love this. I got to play this clip for you guys because it's just beautiful. This is from the Lex Friedman podcast, by the way.
And we achieved, and they told us it would be impossible to do that. We had planned to do so within a year.
He's talking about getting the inflation rate. The inflation rate down.
And they told us it would be impossible to do that. We had planned to do so within a year. And they said it wasn't possible to adjust by more than 1 percentage point. And we achieved fiscal balance in the month of January, that is the first month of administration. And they told us it would be impossible to do that. We had planned to do so within a year. and they said it wasn't possible to adjust by more than 1 percentage point. And we achieved fiscal balance in the month of January, that is the first month of administration.
That's so crazy. If you like, if you would have said that they would be able to do that, they would have said, well, that's misinformation. If you were to say that it was possible for all that to happen, misinformation. Here's the stats. I'm going to give him a follow because I want to see more stats like this. Charlie Bileo. Argentina's monthly inflation rate, December 2023. Javier Milei takes office. It's 25%. If you watch the Lex Friedman podcast, I can get the chat in here. It won't obscure this. When he took office, he was saying that the afuera, please. Yes, afuera. The government, afuera. Like almost everything. This is why I'm with Javier Milei. I want to tell you this. Holy cow! I want to tell you this. This is amazing. This is amazing. Come close. Get over here. Yeah. I got an email today. I got an email from one of my heroes. I got an email from Dr. Walter Block. Of all people. Amazing. Dr. Walter Block. He's an economist with he's been talking about the Austrian School of Economics for decades. And he sent me an email. I've had him on the show. Brilliant show. But he's talking about how so many people have been talking about him in the past few days, because in Lex Friedman's podcast, he talked about Dr. Walter Block. He called him out by name, Dr. Walter Block. He talked about a number of economists, but it was really cool. It was really cool. And Dr. Walter, as he wishes to be called, sent out an email showcasing the Lou Rockwell show, where he'd been mentioned in some other places as well. And really, really excited. And I gave him a big congratulations. Absolutely, you've earned it. This is, it goes to show that you have been an influential part of bringing freedom back, bringing liberty back to the world. So this is something he should very much be proud of. Dr. Walter Block, one of my heroes. Absolutely. I was so ecstatic when I heard his name. I was like, freaking out. I was freaking out. Javier Milei was talking about Murray Rothbard. He was talking about F.A. Hayek. You know, I think the only one he didn't mention was Henry Hazlitt. I was like, you forget. But you know, it's busy. You're busy. You're in a podcast. Anyway, back to this. When Javier Milei took office, the inflation rate was roughly 1% per day. Now it says 25%. That's like monthly. What are they going at? Compounded over a year, it was over 1,000%. That's unsustainable. It's insane. Just look at the numbers. January, 20%. February, 13%. March, 11%. April, 8%. May, 4%. June, 4%. July, 4%. August, 4.2. You know, 0.3 to 0.2 to 0.0 to back up to 0.2. Then back 3.5. October, 2.7. This is what happens when you come in with sound policies. Shrink the size of government. Get rid of, I mean, you could come into the Canadian government and just get rid of waste and fraud and save us. You could eliminate GST tomorrow forever if you just got rid of waste and fraud. That would be it. And we'd still be able to pay back our debt with all the other taxes. Not that we need those other taxes, Don't get your ideas messed up. I'm not advocating for more taxes. I want lower taxes for everybody because I want to entice businesses to come back to Canada. I want to entice. There's no reason why Canada is not the Saudi Arabia of the world, or of the non-Muslim world, of the not Sharia portion of the planet. There's no reason why we're not the cold Saudi Arabia. Everyone should be so wealthy in Canada. It takes a special kind of idiot to screw that up. It takes a special kind of idiot. And what is this special kind of idiot? The special kind of idiot is an idealistic ideologue that believes in the Saudi Arabia is the Saudi Arabia of the world. Yeah, no, I get it. But we should be the cold Saudi Arabia of the world. We should be pipelines next, I hope. Yeah, I'd love to see it. I would love to see it. Or a special kind of evil. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. But Javier Milei is not offering $250 to buy votes. What a loser! What? What a loser! Oh, what an absolute loser! What? That is really funny. Actually, that cracks me up. I gotta show this clip because Milton Friedman is another one of my favorite economists out there. If Trudeau is in Montreal watching Taylor Swift while Palestinians are in the streets firebombing cars and setting the city on fire. Is he there watching Taylor? I don't. No comment. No comment. No, I'm not gonna stay away from that one. I'm definitely staying away from that one. Okay, here's another one of my favorite economists. This is back in the day while he was still around. Milton Friedman. Now, he's not of the Austrian School of Economics. No, he's the Chicago School. Actually, he's probably one of the founders of the Chicago School of Economics. You know Milton Friedman. You know Thomas Sowell. Both brilliant economists. I have nothing but great things to say about them. Well, I mean, wasn't keen on his reverse income tax idea that he came out, but the caveat being that the reverse income tax was only supposed to be a way to get people off the welfare state so that they can get rid of that scheme entirely. That originally was his concept. People morphed it and turned it into UBI, which, whoa, no, that's not what he was advocating for at all. But let's get into this because this is a great clip of him talking about essentially what Javier Milei ended up doing, because this is what they need to do, and this is his advocacy way ahead of time.
14 is a lot for television, so I want to just go right down the list quickly and have you give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Keep them or abolish them. Department of Agriculture.
So right out of the gates, what are we going to do? Which ones should we get rid of? These government agencies they need to go, but which ones will we get rid of versus the ones that Department of Agriculture to start?
Abolish.
Gone.
Abolish.
Department of Commerce.
Abolish.
Gone. Department of Defense.
Keep.
Keep it. Department of Education.
Abolish.
Gone. Energy.
Abolish.
Housing.
Except that energy ties in with the military.
Well, then we shove it under defense.
That's
the little
right.
bit that handles the nuclear,
Right, that ought to go under
plutonium
defense.
and so forth goes under defense, but we abolish the rest of it.
Yep.
Health and Human Services.
There is room for some public health activities to prevent contagion.
So this is before he learned, he wasn't around during the pandemic to learn just how bad they could get. So, yeah, I think the government should, I mean, there is a role, but limited.
Such a thing as, for example,
So you'd keep the National Institutes of Health, say, and the Center for Disease Control down
not
in
the
Atlanta?
National Institute.
Oh, no?
Those are mostly research agencies. No. That's a question of whether the government should be involved in financing research.
And the answer is no.
Well, that's a very complicated issue, and it's not an easy answer with respect to that.
We'll eliminate half of the Department of Health and Human
something
Services?
like that.
Okay, one half. There we go. Housing and Urban Development?
Out.
Oh, didn't even pause over that one. Department of the Interior?
Oh, well, but housing and urban development has done an enormous amount of harm.
Now pay close attention to this, because this is what Trudeau is advocating for currently, and this is what the U.S. has run this experiment. We don't need to go down this road because they did it and it was a tremendous failure, even though it's still around. It's still around.
God, if you think of the way in which they've destroyed parts of cities under the rubric of eliminating slums.
Jack Kemp.
You know, you remember Martin Anderson wrote a book on the federal bulldozer describing the effect of the urban development. There have been many more dwelling units torn down in the name of public housing than have been built.
Jack Kemp has proposed selling to the current inhabitants of public housing their unit, their townhouse, their apartment, for $1 a piece, and just shifting the ownership to the people who live in.
If you got rid of the Department of Housing and Urban Development, it would be worth doing that.
All right, done. That's gone. Department of the Interior, your beloved National Park Service.
Well, given the problem there is, you first have to sell off all the land that the government owns. But that's what you should do.
But it could be done pretty quickly.
It could be done. You should do that. There's no reason for government to own. The government now owns something like 1/3 of all the land in the country.
Isn't that absurd? That the government would own 1/3 of all of the land in the country? Well, how much of it does the Canadian government own? Probably more than 1/3. I'm willing to bet it's way more than 1/3. That's insane.
And that's too much. Should go down to zero.
Should go down to, well, not entirely zero. They ought to own the land on which government buildings are.
Okay, terrific. Department of Justice.
Oh, yes.
Keep that one.
Keep that one.
Labor.
No.
Gone. State.
Keep.
Keep it. Transportation.
Gone.
Gone. The Treasury.
You have to keep it to collect taxes.
All right, collect taxes through the Treasury. Veterans Affairs.
You can regard the Veteran Affairs as a way of paying essentially salaries for services of those who have been in the armed force, but you ought to be able to get rid of it.
You should be able to pay it off.
Pay it off.
Pay off lump sums, perhaps.
That's right.
And just get rid of it. Okay, Milton Friedman, if you are made dictator for one day, the next day the American government...
No, I don't want to be made dictator.
I love that answer. I don't want to be made dictator. No, thanks. This isn't what the ideas of the market economy would want. This is Sandy Klein. Clyde, why would Max want what? Why would Max want to follow you when you talk down about him? Do you follow those that talk down about you? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Absolutely. And I'd love to have him on to talk about that stuff. But, well, I mean, that seems overly sensitive, though, to throw a block out there, because I criticize him. I mean, that's the thing. So I don't talk down about Max. I criticize. That's the difference. That says a lot. Says a lot. Let's go back.
You wouldn't.
I don't believe in dictators.
Okay.
I believe we want to bring about change by the agreement of the citizens. I don't believe in arbitrary rule.
Let me put it this way then.
If we can't persuade the public that it's desirable to do these things, we have no right to impose them, even if we had the power to do it.
All right. From 14 departments down to four and a half.
Fundamental functions. What are its fundamental functions? A preserve.
Okay, hold on. We got this. David FL. I just looked it up. 89% of Canada is crown land, either federal or provincial. That's insane. US, 1/3. Canada, 89%. So 1/10 is owned. Not even 1/10 is in private hands. Oh, when this guy, I totally agree with this guy. Yeah, this is Milton Friedman. Milton Friedman, holy cow. Everyone needs to relearn who this guy is.
Serve the peace, defend the country.
All right.
Provide a mechanism whereby individuals can adjudicate their disputes. That's the Justice Department. Protect individuals from being coerced by other individuals. The police function.
Right.
And now, this is both the central government and the state and local governments. The police function is primarily local and central.
Right.
That's right.
And those are the fundamental functions of government, in my opinion.
Milton Friedman, thank you very much.
I am totally on board with that concept. I'm totally on board with that concept because I've always said it. The government should serve, you know, very limited role in everyday life, but there are a few functions that it does need to adhere to. I'm not an anarchist. I don't believe that we should be in total anarchy. That's not a thing. The term for it, if you watch Have Your Melee, he's got some really great ideas, by the way. I recommend go watch Lex Friedman's podcast with Have Your Melee. The entirety is 3 hours. It's not time wasted at all. It's a fantastic interview. Because he's bringing back freedom to the Americas. Just another America, you know? We need to bring it up here. He's gone all the way down south. We need to bring it all the way up north. The government has very limited roles in its capacity. Once it steps outside of those roles, it becomes largesse. It's on the path to largesse. It will always. This is the nature of the beast. It's a necessary evil, but it's something that needs to be tamed. It needs to be held down with every ounce of our energy at every cost. Well, not at every cost, at great cost, but never at the cost of freedom. It's the idea that the state does have a function. The state does need to protect our borders. This is a reality. And we do need court systems. Here's the thing. The market economy is the one thing that if you look through all of human development in a linear path, we as humans, we were like this, right? Or sorry, the path goes this way. There is very little productivity throughout all of human history until a little thing called liberty happened. And what did liberty do? Liberty created the key ingredients for a market economy to function. And when that happened, human productivity went like a hockey stick through the roof. We went to the moon. We did all kinds of computers were invented. The modern lifestyle was invented. Everything happened after that. We were just serfs all the way along. Surfing through time. That's right. And then, pow, what was the difference? What was the difference? What happened at that time? Well, we got a society where people were able to manifest their own destiny. They were able to decide what it was they wanted to do for a living. And were they given a leg up? Nope. Not at all. No. Were you given a leg up? Was anybody given a leg up? No. Everyone started from the same dirt. Unless you, like your parents may have been wealthy, but they didn't start from that. Things happen. So we all start with the same natural. We all start in the natural world, where you've got nothing, you can make something of it. Now, what happens without this system of liberty, where there's a small government that's not going to impose on you, but will protect things like your property rights, that has a court system, so you can adjudicate, you can go, and somebody infringes on your rights, you can go and they can uphold contracts, things like that. Well, trust occurs. And this is why banks are called things like trust. Because it takes trust. people, none of this whole system falls apart without trust. This is really a woke courts. Well, that's where we're at now. And this is why human productivity is on the downward trend. We need to send it back up. No 2A here, Clyde. No, there isn't one. So the idea is Liberty set forward a time for people to not have to worry so much about defending the little bit that they have all the time against warlords and whatnot. Now you'll see this situation, and I can't remember what book I read it in. I think it was one of Jeffrey Tucker's books where he's talking about Haiti, incidentally. At one point, there was a TV crew for I want to say a cooking show went over to Haiti, and they were doing this thing. So they go to the marketplace in the morning, and all these vendors are out, and they're out doing their thing. They're selling their fruits and their meats and their whatever, all their goods on the marketplace, and they're selling all of this stuff. And noon comes around, and everybody shuts. Everybody shuts. The vendors run out of stuff, and they go off. And the crew, the TV crew, were filming this show because they were off to get the things. And some inquisitive minds that go up and they ask some of the vendors, like, "Hey, if you were to just pick more stuff, you'd be able to run the whole day, and then you'd probably make more money." And vendor after vendor that they said this to said the same thing. Yeah, but if I make more money, then the warlords and the gangs are going to come and they'll tax me. They're going to take it from me. So why would I make any more if they're just going to take it from me? So I'll just make what I need for the day, and then I'm going to call it quits, and then everybody leaves me alone, and that's the best way to go about it, and that's the way it's going to go. Well, guess what? That was human existence until liberty came around. That's how it always was. And we take for granted this idea. And these people that were part of this TV crew, they took for granted the idea that you could, wow, you've gotten on to something that people like. Let's do more of that. Let's do more of that. Let's make it happen. Sweet. Let's get on it. Boom. Let's provide more of that stuff. And if somebody robs you, well, you got a court system. You can go and you sue him. You can take that guy to have him sent to jail. There's insurance companies that'll insure you. The concept that the government is the people, so land is owned by the people, where that concept got corrupted. Now the government feels they own the people, so they can do as they can please. Yeah, the whole system's corrupted. The original scripts included water and mineral. Oh, well, we can get into property like that, those kinds of rights. Yeah, that's an even longer conversation. I'd love to get into that at some point. Canadian majority have no backbone, and that is the problem. I'm afraid you are correct on that. But yeah, when it comes down to it, the government has a few essential roles, and one of those roles is ensuring contracts are upheld and property rights are protected. This is very essential to a flourishing society. Without that, everything goes downhill very fast, very, very quickly, and it's a sad state of affairs. But hey, we're running out of time for tonight. I have to go. We're going to the pub tonight. Me and some friends. We got an event happening tonight. So, sorry to cut this. It's not cutting it short, actually. We've gone on to the 2-hour mark at this point. I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. Fantastic showing again. This is one of those things I love hanging out in the live stream every Friday night. And just going over some of these stories, clear my head of some of the things that are bouncing around, ideas that are formulating, ideas that I really want to get out, but I can't always get out in 10-minute videos when I'm doing this. Now, a big announcement for tonight is starting this Wednesday evening, we're gonna, Marty and I, so the Marty and Clyde show, which happens every Thursday morning, we're gonna do it live on Wednesday evening. Now, the live stream is gonna be live, and then it's coming down afterwards. I'll live stream it, and then after the live stream, boop, it drops out, and then we're gonna we'll move on to publishing it the next day. So the next day, for everybody who normally watches the Marty and Clyde show, that will happen same as always. But when we do it live, just so everybody who's watching the live format knows, we won't be interacting with the chat for the first hour. That's how that works. So for the first hour, we won't be interacting with the chat, but after the hour mark, then we'll do a live Q&A for a period of time. As much as Marty's got to hang around, and I wake up super early in the morning, so we'll try to go as late as we possibly can. Maybe another like 30-45 minutes, that kind of thing. But that's what we'll put time aside for the live viewing audience. So if you're into that, check that out. Otherwise, then we're going to be pulling it down, so it won't be viewable the next day. Well, but just that one portion, the usual portion, will be viewable the next day. The live portion will be off the channel. That's what we're gonna do. Thank you, Clyde. Have a great time at the pub and have a great weekend. You guys all have a great weekend. Love spending this time with you on Friday evenings. I appreciate everything you guys do for me and for the channel and for this community. I think it's fantastic. Clyde, my guy, first time I've seen you live. Love the channel, bro. Appreciate the content, dude. Thank you, Steve. That's incredible. Thank you. I really appreciate that. 12:33 a.m. Have fun. Great chat. Yeah, thank you so much. And on that note, I'm gonna call it, and we'll see you guys all Monday morning. That's right. See you then.